Well, first things first, let's start from the beginning. Do you remember the title of this video is Remain Aware of Your True Nature? And what is he referring to? What the titles means? Why, you know, when the video started, or when the video starts, the Swami is kind of answering to a question of someone. And what is the topic? It's something, he speaks about something that it happens to most of us. I think to all of us. And we can experience this mostly when we are meditating. And what do we feel? Do you remember what was the question, or what is he talking about in the video? What happened?
One woman asked about how to remain in the daily life. How to remain in daily life, aware your true nature, no?
Yes, but because what is the sense or the feeling or the experience that we usually have about this? That we feel what? That we are, when, for instance, we meditate and we can experience this awareness of this vastness or our true nature. But then what happens when we start our daily activities? What is the sense that we have? That,
sometimes
yeah, or that we lose it, or what, we don't have it anymore. Okay, and so this is the question that the woman asks when the video starts. How can my mind always be tagged to this pure consciousness? Consciousness is another word for the same, the awareness, consciousness. How can my mind always be tagged to this pure consciousness in all my work and actions? And this is another verb that is interesting. What to be tagged to means.
Yes.
To be linked, to be and
connected.
Connected. Very good. We have here, I think that I looked up meaning of be tagged to. Is to be attached to something, to label or to connect. Yes, we can say, how can I can be connected or remain connected or attached to this awareness and don't lose it. Okay, that's why it says, yes, it means to remain connected to stay aware of, not to lose contact with. And I found that this verb to tag is used in a very in everyday language to say in social media, in Instagram, for instance. I tagged you in the photo. What does it mean? When exactly. I tagged you, or she tagged her friend in the post. This is a very, very usual. Jerry, do you have another example or something? Or how to say this? Okay.
How can there always be tags? No, but it's very idiomatic. You would say always be connected, always be in touch,
Yes.
in contact, something. To be tagged too, yes, connected. Yeah.
Yes, it's the first time I see this, because, well, we have to take into account that this Swami is not native also.
Yes, right.
So
and then as children, there's a game you play to play tag. As children, when you run and touch the other person, and then the other person is it, and that person then has to go and tag another person. So it's also a game.
Yes, we have
to play tag.
To play tag. And me parece que hay un juego así parecido en español, pero no me acuerdo cómo se llama. Yes. To play tag. Okay. Well, so yes.
And you can buy by the electronic communication enterprise sell the tag is like a component that you put in the key or in another place. When you lose the key, for example, you connect with mobile, and you can localize this, and they call the tag.
Okay.
Did you see?
No, I didn't.
Maybe
No.
in Motorola, I saw that equipment. So it's like put in the key, or maybe in another
Como un
thing,
chip, digamos, para que te encuentre la llave si la perdés.
para localizarlo. Lo conecta con el celular y suena.
Okay, I
The
didn't know.
tag.
Ese function es una función, ¿qué es?
Yes,
it's a,
but you had to put this component in the things on the that you
you
want to find.
use.
Usually the key of your house.
Yes, for example, to make you to find it more easily.
Yes.
You lose it. Okay.
Another possible thing that came to mind, that's an interesting, when you go to a store, many times you'll have a piece of paper with the price and the description of the article you're buying, and that's called the tag. So to tag something is also to identify it. So also in this sense, how can your mind always be identified?
Yes.
Explains, because the tag explains the price, the description. So
Yes. Yes.
A price tag.
That's why I looked for other examples, because when I saw it in this question, to be tagged to poor consciousness, I think this is not usual, because I never I have always seen other verbs to mean this, like connected or linked, and but I remember that I thought, well, it has to have another meaning, more usual, and well, I found that because tag sounded it was familiar to me. I have seen it in other contexts, and when I saw this of the social media to tag a friend on Instagram, I thought, it's for this etiquetar in this case. Yes, I saw tag. Okay, so he describes here what is that we feel. Let's start reading. So we then we'll explain the phrases that come up. So Nati, do you want to start here? What happened to the people? He's explaining what happens, what usually happens to the people when we have this experience, that we meditate and then we seem to lose our awareness.
Okay, from when?
From when, yes.
When they listen to non-duality first, they begin to understand, and then this question, inevitably it will come up at one point or the other.
Yes, let's start, stop a bit here. This is another verb that is very usual, to come up. What is when something's come up? In a, it may be in a conversation. Appears, yes, rises, and like Jerry said, something came up. You are talking and from nowhere something's an idea or a connection of a word with another word or with another phrase or with another context comes up. Okay. We can say it suddenly appeared. It came up. Okay.
Another use of that real quick, Kari, if you use the infinitive to say came up, it has a different meaning. Like you could say, I was thinking about something and suddenly I came up with a new idea, which means to invent or to create. So something came up, or could mean appeared, or it could mean to create something, to come up with something.
To come up with something, yes. That's why I said it appeared from nowhere. Yes, yes. It was not there before, and it was not there anywhere. It's new. It's something new. Yes, it's a new idea or something that you create, or is being created in that moment. It's perfect. Okay, go on, Nati.
I see, yes, such a thing is there. It's like a serene, changeless being consciousness. Very nice, but I don't seem to be somehow in that frame of mind when I'm driving, walking, talking, acting in the world.
Okay, let's stop here because we have another very useful phrase. To be in that frame of mind. And we always we use this expression now also in Spanish. What is to be in that frame of mind? Because at first she describes how do you feel when you are being aware of your true nature, for example, that it's like a serene, changeless being, consciousness. When you are meditating, you are not attached to your thoughts, and you can experience this silence, this peace, and that's why he uses this word, for example, changeless being. What does it mean? That with this suffix, the suffix less, something that is changeless.
No cambia, no change.
Doesn't change. Without change. That's why it's serene also. Serene, without change, changeless, consciousness, peace, bliss. But what happens then when you feel that when you are doing some other activities like driving or talking or acting in the world, what happens? This
the mind coming up
and frame of mind disappears. And what is a frame of mind? And Jose, can you read the meaning of frame of mind?
Yes. Ahí voy a poner la pantalla. Meaning your mood or mental state at particular time. Example, I was in a positive frame of mind when I started the project, so everything went smoothly.
Yeah, it's like your what? Tu estado de ánimo, ¿cómo estás
Claro.
And this is something interesting. How this is something that for this Jerry is very, very helpful because he can say to us how to use it in a sentence of how we put it in a sentence. For example, we often say in English, huh? In a good frame of mind. We say something very similar in Spanish, but we use another preposition also. Porque nosotros decimos no estaba de buen humor, no estaba con de, y they use in. We often say, I was in a relaxed, in a competitive frame of mind. This is the with the preposition in, not de, like we use in Spanish. Okay, so how can we say it in other words in this phrase? For example, he tried to explain this with other words. What he's saying, that what happens when we are meditating. We are in this serene and changeless frame of mind, we can say. It is not a frame of mind, but it's kind of. And then somehow we tend to what? To lose it, or our mood changes, or we feel this, that we can't feel this when we are driving or talking or acting in the world, because what happens when we are driving or we are doing some activities? What do we feel sometimes? Do we feel serene and at peace?
No.
Concentrate.
Oh,
Alert.
This changeless being is no more
In
changed.
Argentina, you have to be very alert when you drive here.
Yes. That's right.
So he uses a word, another expression that he says, what happens? Because I feel that my true nature is this peace, this love, this changeless being, but then I am driving and I feel nervous, I feel anxious, I feel angry, and so he used, I'm mixed up, he says. And that background reality is so nice. How can I be there all the time? What is to be?
He tried to balance, no?
Yeah, but how? Why?
I remember because sometimes another woman asked to Mushi how to balance daily life with this. He said, no trates de balancear algo que siempre está balanceado todo el tiempo en la vida, ¿no? Algo así le dijo, no me acuerdo, ¿no?
That's why he says this background reality is so nice. Background reality, what does it mean? That in fact, this peace or this serene state is always there, but we seem to lose it when we are driving, or that's why he said, well, I'm mixed up because it is always there, but I can't feel it. what happens? And what is to be mixed up? Here we can read. Cari, can you read the meaning of to be mixed up? We always use it a lot in Spanish also. With another, we use another words, but the expression, we use it a lot.
Okay, mix up, meaning confused, disordered, or having conflict feelings. Example.
Confused, disordered, or having conflicting feelings. Let's read slowly and repeat. Confused, you know that what is the ED? The EN is like a nightmare.
Disordered, or having...
What happens? That sometimes the E is pronounced and sometimes not. We say invited, but we say confused, or we say talked, or we say processed. It's like this, my friends.
Confused.
Okay, so to be mixed up is to be confused. So, here is an example. In Spanish, we say a very similar word. We say to be. What is to be mixed up in Spanish? Estar confundido.
Perdido, confundido, sí.
Claro, confundido, porque eso es lo que dice él ahí. Si ese estado siempre está, ¿por qué no lo puedo sentir cuando estoy manejando? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué onda? Me estoy confundida, I'm mixed up, porque vos me decís que eso está siempre ahí, pero yo no lo siento. Okay, so, and this is an example. She felt really mixed up after hearing two different versions of the story. When someone tells you something and the other tells you something else, and they are, what is the truth here? What really happened? I'm mixed up. Or other uses, this is interesting. This is, I got the names mixed up. Es cuando uno confunde los nombres. For example, explain us, I got the names mixed up. When you call someone Carlos and it's called Pedro, or how, well, for what do you use this expression?
The parent is used to be that.
Yeah.
Joaquín, Juanse, venga.
Yes. And sometimes the names in your case, your sons have similar names. But in my case, my sons, one is Valentino and the other is Gianluca, and we mixed up the names, and they get angry because they feel that they are different. Okay, so, and this one also, he's a mixed up kid. Yes, we use it a lot in Spanish also. Vieron cuando decimos este pibe está un poco confundido. What is to be mixed up? A mixed up kid. When someone doesn't know what he wants. It's like this. If sometimes teenagers are at some stage of our life, we were also mixed up, or we still are.
maybe when he's smoking a strange herb.
Yes, it has a negative connotation, and it has a connotation that something bad, and a bad element is present. It's just confused. It means he acts good in one way and acts very bad in others. So very, very mixed up.
Yes, and it has that's why it's so interesting. But because in Spanish, not always happens the same, but in this case, it happens that it has the same meaning, porque cuando nosotros decimos este pibe está un poco confundido, queremos decir eso, que está como
En las
identificado,
nubes.
claro, oh, yes. Oh, que está perdido, ¿vieron?
Está perdido también, me salía
In
más.
the clouds, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so that's why this expression fits perfectly here when he is trying to describe what do we feel when we meditate and then we are driving and our awareness is not there anymore. So, and he cites after this a verse in the Mandukya. I didn't know what it was, but it is a very spiritual, very important text of Hindu philosophy. I think that I looked for the...
Mandukya Karika, así se pronuncia.
Yes,
This
Mandukya.
pronunciation.
Yes, let me check.
When Kari, when we talk about the driving, I was thinking in the traffic act in Argentine is it has a principal idea that the people who drive is we call the lawyer called pleno dominio. So when we drive a car, you have to have pleno dominio, so control.
Yes.
And I had a parallel with our life, so had to control too, like monks say, driving, and I connect that idea. Kari,
Yes, because, and there is something that is very obvious or practical, that when we are driving, we have the control on how it is manifested, because we have the steering wheel. We are holding the steering wheel and we are driving. So this is the sign of that we are in control of something, of the situation, and we are very alert. But sometimes, what happens? We get distracted, or we and why? Yes, it's very interesting how the act of driving makes people react in such violent ways, or how I am not a driver, so I can't speak from from experience, but I saw it many times, and it is
but
very
not only distract, so the people who drive can understand when you have an event, so how to you react. So if you had in the danger situation, we had pleno dominio, or you had to use go, even don't think about the consequences, and then you do that. You do not act with pleno dominio, and you will be punished for that. And a lot of people can understand that meaning, because I can explain all the situation you had in the traffic. And I think with our life, because it's the same. So we do react, or how do you act or do in this situation? So it's too different. You understand? I don't know if I'm clear.
Yes, now I get what you are trying to explain, and the parallel, because to be in pleno dominio, como vos decís, is the same as to be aware, to be completely aware of what you are doing. And this feeling of losing our awareness is like when we are driving and get distracted, and well, we may cause an accident, or
In
yes,
this case, you had to control the car. In our case, you had to control yourself.
yes, yourself. To be aware. This is to be aware of yourself. To be, yes, but it's another type of awareness, because it is not mental. It's not only meant to be aware of yourself, is to be aware of this nature that you are, to be aware of the peace you are, to be connected, to be tagged, as he says, to this. And when you are aware that you are this, everything flows effortlessly, or with this, your actions are like of pervaded by this peace that you are. It's like this. And why he cited, you know that at the beginning, the Swami says that this question comes up with when we start to, or when we know about non-duality. And that's why he cites the Mandukya Karika. That's what is the Mandukya Karika. I look for some information because I didn't know. I knew about other spiritual books or in Hindu, but I didn't know about this.
We lost Karina.
Oh, okay. I was wondering because I thought
Frozen.
she froze.
Everybody understand the meaning that I explained with the traffic?
Not me. Jerry,
No, no, not you.
No, because it's a term, a technical term in Spanish, legal.
Okay, I explain this in little in Spanish.
Yes.
Nuestra ley de tránsito dice que el conductor debe tener siempre pleno dominio de su conducido, o sea, de su rodado.
Sí.
Muchas personas, cuando encuentran una contingencia, por ejemplo, en una calle hay un niño que está en bicicleta, es lógico pensar que ese niño se bambolee, que no tenga estabilidad. Entonces,
Sí.
el pleno dominio es desacelerar y pasar con cuidado. Si el chico se pone en tu trayectoria, tenés que frenar tu auto para no colisionarlo. Y muchos buscan salvar su responsabilidad diciendo que, bueno, que era un niño. Pero la ley dice, no, el que maneja el auto es usted y usted es responsable por haber colisionado.
Muy bien.
Entonces yo conectaba eso con driving, con el pleno dominio, con nuestro pleno dominio de nuestra vida, que a veces, como decía Cari, en una situación, pero también en situaciones que nosotros hacemos cosas y culpamos a los otros, cuando en realidad somos nosotros los que provocamos esa situación.
Sí, muy bien. excelente, muy bien explicado, gracias. Es
Pablo.
muy- sí.
Nat,
Pablo, a mí me habían explicado que cuando uno maneja puede manejar a la defensiva o a la ofensiva. Esa sería la otra forma de verlo, ¿no? ¿O no?
sí, sí, lo que pasa que la compañía de seguros, cuando vos manejes a la ofensiva y tengas un
Sí.
accidente, no te va a proteger porque va a decir que vos no cumpliste con
No,
la ley
obviamente.
de tránsito. Y yo cuando les enseñé a mis hijos a manejar, les enseñé eso, que uno, o sea, como nosotros transitamos en la vida, de no dañar, de pasar por sin dañar a la naturaleza, a nuestros congéneres. Entonces, si vos te justificás porque sí, yo iba apurada y iba al trabajo, y dice, bueno, pero vos chocaste a ese chico y vos sos responsable porque vos faltaste a ese compromiso que era el pleno dominio, porque vos introducís el rodado en la circulación y vos sos responsable, esa concepto de responsabilidad que tenemos que tener. Y mucha gente actual dice, no, la culpa es del otro, el otro se cruzó, el otro es... Y después vienen, bueno, también las discusiones en el tránsito. Porque la primera pregunta es decir, bueno, yo actué con pleno dominio, iba con, y se cruzó cruzó el chico corriendo atrás de la pelota. Bueno, era una posibilidad. ¿Vos pudiste frenar el auto? Y no, yo iba apurado. Bueno, no lo pudiste frenar, no tenías pleno dominio.
Ah,
Claro, a eso voy, de tener el control de manejar a la defensiva y no a la ofensiva.
Yes.
Ese control.
And this, that's why the parallel between our lives and this kind of practice, the driving practice, is so interesting because and unity used, you say, you can be offensive, your attitude can be offensive or defensive. Sometimes, and we also say this in Spanish when we say que el otro se defiende atacando, a veces. To defend yourself, sometimes you use this to attack the other. You complain, you blame the other. You try to put the attention or the blame or the action in what the other did wrong. And instead of turning the responsibility on you and to be aware that you have the control and you can act differently. It doesn't depend on what the other do. Yes,
And
but well.
a lawyer master of mine told me years ago, in the car accident, you had to do like a mathematics calc. So if you
Calculation.
calculation, if you take off the meaning that your client used in this accident, the accident it was there even though or not, because if you take off this behavior, is that the meaning that is only guilty of the accident. So you understand? Si uno
Say it
saca,
in Spanish, so because there are a couple of verbs there that can be used differently in English. But say it in Spanish, and we'll put it in English.
si sacamos el comportamiento de nuestro cliente, ¿el accidente hubiese ocurrido igual o no? Si esa persona tenía pleno dominio y frenaba el auto, ¿chocaba la
Ah,
bicicleta? No, entonces es el único responsable.
yeah.
Y you use that in our life, in the way I talk today, in the spiritual life, we had to use the same meaning. So if you in a conflict with your in the neighborhood, so if you take off your behavior, the conflict is still or not.
Yes, you could say in English. You can say if you have acted differently,
Okay.
the accident would have occurred or would have happened or not. Something like this. Jerry helped me.
Yeah, I wrote, no, it's fine, it's understood. I wrote in the chat box, if you remove or if you take away this behavior.
Yes.
Remove,
Instead-
okay, remove.
See.
Yes, because take off is something different. Is to take off. I remember now the use of this happens with phrasal verbs that the meaning changes. Take off is a plane can take off. For example, take off es despegar. Not, but in this case, we can use the verb remove. Yes.
Remove or eliminate. Okay. You could also say if you eliminate this behavior, if you remove, if you take away, eliminate would be a good term. If you eliminate this behavior, would the accident have occurred? No or yes.
Okay. Well, my friends, so now we come back to the Manduka Karika, that is this text. This spiritual text talks about Advaita or non-duality, and what is the Advaita? Because I found it interesting to see the definition and the information, because you know that in the video he talks about the Brahman. He cites these words. He says that what is non-duality or Advaita? Pablito, do you want to read? It says,
okay. Key ideas in the simple terms: non-duality, Advaita, there is only one ultimate reality, Brahman. Everything else is an appearance. The self, Atman, your true nature is not the body or mind, but pure awareness.
Yes. This is the, and he says that they are like 4 states of consciousness.
Waking, dreaming, deep sleep, turiya, pure consciousness beyond the other 3.
Yes. I didn't know about this word, turiya. And he says
the world is the appearance. Wadapada suggests that the world is like a dream, real in experience, but not ultimately real. Adyata Vada, non-creation, a radical idea that nothing is ever truly created. Reality is always on and unchanged.
Yes, this is the meaning of this awareness that he talks about, or that our true nature. That's why he says that this true nature cannot disappear or cannot vanish. But well, let's go on a bit more when he says, because he says, well, I know this, but when I'm driving, I can't feel this. That's why I am mixed up. So he cites the verses of this spiritual text, the Mandukya Karika, and then we will go on with other here. But what happens? He says, yes, very beautiful. it's from let me check if this is the continuation of the text, because yes. So he cites the text and he says then, yes, very beautiful. You know what it says? It's an answer to this question. The phrase of the Mandukya Karika. Seeing that reality, Brahman, within, and seeing that reality outside, you become that reality. You are that reality. And you find bliss and peace and completeness in that reality. Here appears another word that I saw this word for the first time in a spiritual context, but we can also use it in everyday language, because bliss, what is bliss? That he says, and you find bliss and peace and completeness in that reality, in that knowing that you are this awareness and your true nature. What is to find bliss? Bliss is something that is more than happiness. You know that in Spanish? Yes. And Jerry put some example. Yes. Bliss, complete happiness, extreme joy. And this is a beautiful example. Lying on the beach with no worries. That was pure bliss. Cuando uno está en ese estado de completa felicidad. This is an expression, I didn't know this expression. We have something very, very similar in Spanish, but I didn't know that it is said like this in English. Ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
Vieron que, ¿cómo decimos? En español tenemos como una, no me sale, pero viste como decimos, cuanto menos sabe, mejor. Vieron que lo decimos a eso, in Spanish. Ignorance is bliss. Okay, so now you can use this expression in English.
Menos conoce Dios, más perdona, ¿no dicen?
No.
Menos averigua.
No, ¿cómo es otra? Ahora no me sale, pero está relacionada. ¿Cómo es la expresión en español de esa? La de Dios, ya me va a salir. Okay, well, but you can use this expression. Ignorance is bliss. I like this expression. Okay, so and you find bliss and peace and completeness in that reality. And never here appears another phrasal verb that is very useful and interesting. And it's used a lot. Mushi also uses it. Slip away, and never slip away from that reality. He says, what do you become? You become that which can never slip away from that reality. What is to slip away? Or when something slips away, disappears gradually or escapes, especially time or an opportunity. This is an expression that is very useful.
He uses it a little, also here it's used in a strange way, Kari, because the actual expression is something which disappears. Where he uses it, it's the person who's slipping away, who's alejándose, de alejarse de esta realidad. So it's a bit original, this use, but you understand that.
And yes, instead of slip away,
It's like dissolve? No.
yes, he doesn't, Mushi doesn't use it, slips away. He uses fades.
Fade.
When
Okay.
something fades,
Yeah.
it has almost this meaning also, something that fades or vanishes, but gradually. Not como que algo se desvanece y va desapareciendo de a poco.
Se va
Esa
disolviendo.
se va disolviendo, or dissolving. Sí, sí, otra expression que yo, otro verbo que vi en inglés para decir esto fue fades. Fades away. Something that fades or... Cari no está más el otro día, pero lo veíamos en otro contexto. When something falters, is the same to falter. When it
Fade,
disappears
fades,
gradually.
what means fades?
Falter.
Falter. Ahí está Cari, ahí apareció Cari.
Between Iran and USA.
Yes, they were talking about, yes, they lose strength. Eso quiere decir, por ejemplo, que pierden fuerza, porque lo veíamos, estamos hablando de otro contexto, de la guerra de Medio Oriente, y the headline of we were looking for information in the website of the UN, and it says, talks faltered. Como que, claro, las conversaciones es como que perdieron fuerza porque they are not coming to an agreement. It's like, it's something connected or similar to this meaning. So, slips away, in this example, for example, we also use it with this meaning in Spanish, when we say, time slips away when you are having fun. Pero lo decimos de otra forma, pero como que la intención es la misma. Cuando decimos, sí, el tiempo pasa muy rápido cuando uno...
Todo está bien.
Exactly, slips away. Or other use, his chance to win slipped away in the last minute. Esto es otra cosa, ¿vieron? Ahí sí usamos se le escapó la oportunidad. Como decimos, se le escapó en el último momento, estaba por ganar y ahí se le escapó la oportunidad. In English,
This
we
happens
say,
very often in tennis, in the game of tennis, because one point can change the whole result of a match with one. I just want to clarify one thing regarding the use of slip away. In general, it's not the subject that does the slipping away. It's the object. So he's using it as the subject. You slip away.
You can never slip away. Yes.
No, you would alejarse, but slip away is when the object that's outside of you se aleja o se desaparece lentamente, como fade, but he's using it as the subject. So it would be better to say to not distance yourself from that reality or to not get away from that. But usually slip away you use not for the subject, you use for something.
An object, not the subject. Okay, now I understand. Yes, and yes, that's when then he explains it and he says, yes, you become that which can never slip away from that reality. I'm feeling, the questionnaire would say, yes, that's what I want. Advaita Vedanta says, that's what you already have. You always had it. What does this mean? That this is what we are. We can't lose it. You suffer under this notion that I have slipped away from it. Yes, this is the strange use, but how can we put it in an... what other word can we can use for this when it is the subject and not the object? What would be the usual word for this? That we can never lose this. This is the meaning. We can never lose this reality, or because we are this.
Yeah.
And yes, then he uses that's why he used then this expression. There are many beautiful ways to put it. This is another expression that is useful. How to put it. It's the same as to say how to explain something. Vieron que en español decimos, a ver, ¿cómo te lo digo? ¿Cómo te lo explico? How to put it. Different ways to say something. I don't know.
How to say it, you could say it also. How to say
Yes, how to say it, how to express something. Claro, por eso en español también lo decimos así. A ver, ¿cómo te lo digo? ¿Cómo te lo explico? When you are talking about something and you don't, you see that the other people is not understanding what you are saying, and you want to give an example or to say it in other words so they can understand what you're, the same that happened a few minutes ago with Pablo, that he tried to explain it or to put it in another way for us to understand. And that's why the variations are, let me put it this way, or how should I put it? Que ya les digo, en español también lo decimos, que decimos, a ver cómo te lo explico, cómo te lo digo. Déjame decírtelo a ver de otra forma, así lo entendés. How to put something. Okay, my friends. And this is the example. I don't know how to put it politely, but your suggestion isn't helpful. En español, ¿cómo diríamos? A ver, no sé, no quiero ser, no sé, descortés por él, pero no suma lo que decís, no suma. Una cosa así decimos, in Spanish. Your suggestion isn't helpful. It's very polite, this phrase. Okay. Well, my friends, it's time slipped away.
Time is slipping away.
Yes, but well, it was a very, very interesting discussion and interaction and sharing. You know that it is like this. We talked about awareness when we are driving, and pleno dominio, and to be in control of our lives today. Well, to finish, you know that there are many ways of to describe or to put a name to this sense that we have when we meditate, that is this awareness or this consciousness, this serene state, this changeless state. And Mushi also talks about, he has a contemplation that is called intuitive being. And this is another way of saying the same. What is why he uses, I don't know if I share it with you here. I shared with you the transcription of this. That is a very short contemplation, but it talks, I choose it for today because it talks about the same. What is why does he use this word, intuitive being? This awareness and this sense of serene and changeless state that we feel when we meditate, or when we can detach from our thoughts and just stay or he also uses the term abide in the self. It is not something mental. It is intuitive. It comes from a deeper place. It doesn't come from the mind. That's why he uses this term, intuitive being. So, he says, beloved, pay attention to this. Upon arising in the morning, as consciousness surfaces, the first knowing, the first message of life is the sense I am. That, yes, this sense, this is, we are not aware of, that it's something that is very intuitive to feel that we exist, that we are. Okay, so he asked us just to do this, to be aware of this I am. That when you stay in this silence, not paying attention to your thoughts, you let them come and go, and just focus on your heart, and maybe on your breathing at first. You can feel this sense of I am or I exist. And when you can just be this, all is silence and peace. And this is what you are. Well, and he tries to lead us or guide us into this feeling. Just to, and he says, what? That we don't have to create anything, to imagine anything, just be there. So for some minutes, let's, and to finish our beautiful meeting today, let's try to do this, to listen to his voice, and to try to just focus on our breathing, or just to be, and or to pay attention to this sense of I am that we all of us are, and to see what we experience when we do this. Okay, let me share. And let me check if I have. It's not where.
Beloved, pay attention to this. upon arising in the morning, as consciousness surfaces, the first knowing, the first message of life is the sense I am. Not the words I am, but the awareness I am. Before any thought, before the functioning of the senses, that awareness I am is the registration I exist. It is not personal. It is the announcing of consciousness. Observe this I am sensation or being or feeling without identifying with it. Just be aware of this I am. Try to observe it without creating a picture of it. Simply be aware of the I am without going to other things, without picking up the mind as yet, without getting into any shape. Stay with that feeling. I am, I exist. From the mind will come some images to represent this I exist feeling, like your name, or some relationship, some connectedness. But those are after the rising of
Well, my friends, this simple practice of just sitting and contemplating makes us feel this presence and this silence that we are. And what happens? If we choose to practice this just a few minutes, we can go deeper in this, and we can invert this proportion that maybe we start to feel more and more that is not something that we can lose when we do other things. It's a practice, this of being aware or being in control means this, that your attention is more here than there. But sometimes we feel that we can't do both things at the same time. And well, it's something that we have to practice. But the choice is ours. To devote some minutes every day to experience or to feel what we are. Can you feel this when you are just a couple of minutes in silence like this, or is difficult for you? Not to engage with your mind. What happens to you? Is difficult or is easy for you? Tell me. Or you don't want to tell me?
For me, it's easy. I feel calm now with the contemplations.
Well. So, yes, and you have this feeling that you don't want to get out of this. That if you talk, or you don't need to talk. You prefer to be here, experiencing this silence. And you love it so much because it's what you are. That's why we experience this in this so beautiful way. Well, don't forget, try to look for this a bit more, to choose it. Well, my friends, thank you. I don't know if you want to say something else or we finish here for today.
I'll just say that for me, it's certainly not easy. Doing this brief meditation allowed me to at least relax, focus, be calm. And I was reflecting on yesterday, I had a moment where I felt in peace and I was able to go deep, and there was a particular idea in my mind which I concentrated on, which brought me peace. But I say that because I feel it's something I can't control. I can only allow it to happen when it arises. But I also need to find those moments where it's able to be more possible. Because as we know in our daily lives with activities, it's not easy. But it also can happen in those moments, even not in thinking of. So I'm always surprised, and so I feel it's like driving. We can control some things, but other factors we can't control. But we can do our part.
Unexpectedly, but yes. And you said, you put it in a very beautiful way when you say just allow it to happen. But this, to allow something to happen, it depends on us also. That we just, when it arises or when it comes up, let it be. Make this space, or choose to allow this to happen, because sometimes that's why it is true that it's not, because sometimes we decide or we choose to do it, and it is not easy, because yes, our mind is stronger than other moments. But at least for me, it's important that we have this attitude of choosing, or to choose these moments. So we can go deeper. Sometimes we can, and sometimes we are not able to do it. But it is important that we choose, or we allow these moments to happen. There has to be a balance between not doing all the time, but taking some time just to be. So we can recognize, or we can acknowledge that this is what we are, and that this is always there. Okay, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for your sharing. And
Thank you, Kari.
See
Thank you.
next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a beautiful weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.